Well, with that said, I'd like to introduce Jeff Jordan, who is taking this kit bash station project and modifying it to where it looks like a specific depot that he's interested in building. So, Jeff, welcome.
Hi, Jim. There we go. Okay, picking up where we left off last week on the modifications to the commercially available kit to closely resemble the historic Middletown Depot. And so one of the modifications was, as you saw, I extended the walls and added a window opening in the base section of the structure. Now this is the siding, which the center photo shows how I had traced the location of the photo onto the siding material, then liberally taped it with painter's tape on both sides to prevent it from splitting, and then just used a steel rule and a sharp X-Acto blade to cut it out. And as you can see in the right-hand photo there, the cuts have pierced all of the painter's tape. So the piece lifts out, and with a very little truing up with a file, the Grant line casting drops right in. Fortunately, one of the reasons I picked this kit was I recognized that its windows and doors were Grant line castings that I could match. So when I added a window that wasn't in the kit, I could obtain the matching Grant line casting. So next step then is adding the siding onto the base. On the left there, my siding is all weighted down because I have a great big box of wheel weights, and I find them to be a very handy source of weight for gluing stuff down. And so the siding is added, and there on the right, you can see the modification that because the sidewalls were extended, and in the previous episode showed how I cut some of the leftover material from the end walls to cover the gap on the sidewalls. And then once it is glued very carefully glued in place to line up the horizontal boards, I filled the remaining gap, which I had made as small as possible and as tight as possible, filled it with just a little bit of wood filler, and then with a very fine microfile sanded on each individual horizontal board to keep the profile. And so you can see there just the shadow of the line. At that point, it's just the color. There is no depression in there anymore. And once it gets painted, it pretty much disappears. Also, you can see the structure has been test fit on the base that the kit comes with a very nice piece of base material and some of the deck material, which I'm experimenting with fitting around the building because the building is located on the platform differently than the stock kit because I lengthened the ends. And so I chose to push the building all the way down to one end, and there was enough deck material, but it had to be reformatted to fit all of the available space. Painting. So that is just a simple coat of Krylon gray to give it some primer. And then on the right is a first coat. I actually would coat it more than once, but a first coat of polyscale special oxide red, which I think is a pretty good match for the period paint color on the B&O depots, which had an oxide red with brown trim. The roof, probably one of the trickiest parts of the kit. The kit comes with two roof sections. The one on the left there would have been the back roof, and it had equal overhangs on the front and the back in the kit. It worked out very neatly that I could take a steel rule and slice off 3 sections of the rear roof, leaving it with the short overhang that you see in the prototype photo, and use that material to fill the front roof. The piece on the photograph on the right shows the front roof material, which originally only had a little extension on the roof to cover the bay window rather than extending out the full length of the building as the prototype. And so the material that was sliced off very neatly fits in, just a tiny little bit of sanding and fitting to fill the gap. And next step, I will come back to, I guess, the other slide with the roof is in the next segment. So here I'm fitting the trim material, which comes with the kit for the most part. It comes with nice trim, which you need to pre-paint and then insert in place. Also, the bay window is under the 3 weights on the right. But the one trick here is on the right, there's the board or the material that the laser cut trim came in, and it's all been cut out and is off being painted. And at that point, it was clear, because again, I had extended the walls, that I didn't have enough trim. And what to do with that? Well, a lesson in save your scrap material. As you can see, I was able to just section off a piece of the edge of the scrap material, and that provided all the necessary material to provide the additional trim that was not pre-cut in the kit. And it was easy to just measure the width, and there was enough wood. And as you see on the left, if I needed, I could have even gotten more from the other scrap material, and that would all go along the base of the structure, the footboard of the structure. So that's what I've got for this week. Tune in next week, and I'll show you how I finished up the roof.
Anybody have any questions for Tom?
Or Jeff?
I think that looks fantastic. I'm sorry, for Jeff.
Yeah, it came out extremely well. I'm building this for my club. It's going to be presented to the mayor, and I told them, if I had had room on my lap for this, I'm not so sure I would have given it to you. I'm so happy with how it came out.
So just a comment more than a question. The Krylon spray primer, that's a key ingredient when if you're going to paint with a polyscale or anything that's water based. If you hit it with the Krylon, you don't have to worry about it the water-based paint warping the wood, which is a big help.
Correct. And the Krylon is really a good deal. It's not expensive, it's readily available at all the big hardware stores, comes in lots of colors, actually comes in several different shades of gray. That's a darker one. Sometimes I use a lighter one. And though I do also use some high-end primers occasionally, like the Tamiya primer, but for this kind of work, the Krylon works great. Dries quickly, sprays beautifully out of the can.
Mm-hmm.
Now listen, you're going to wear a tuxedo when you make this presentation?
Maybe I'll wear my hickory denim overalls.
Just wondered. That's really a great honor. You ought to really be proud of it. It's a beautiful looking model.
Thank you.
Thank you.